Hi, it is January 9th. It's 10:32 in the a.m. I figured I would try to make a video real quick just to say what I think about things and before everybody who believes in freedom of speech is taken off the internet for good. I believe in free speech, okay? But let me say who I am and what I think and where everything is at right now. I'm 47. I grew up and lived in Massachusetts. I lived in New York for 8 years in the 90s. When I went to college, the first election I voted for was by absentee ballot, right? I voted for Bill Clinton. And the second election I voted for Bill Clinton. That didn't work out for me. I said that before. It didn't work out for a lot of us, but I don't know if he made mistakes on purpose or if he did it intentionally. I don't know. Not the Monica stuff. I'm talking about the NAFTA type stuff. Then after that, I did not like Al Gore. I didn't like the way he reacted to what happened with Bill Clinton. I don't like the other guy either. So I voted for Ralph Nader. Now, I live in Massachusetts. It's a blue state. It's always going to be blue. I knew 4 years ago that whoever was the Democrat nominee this year, in 2020, was going to win Massachusetts. And my vote, unless I voted for that person, isn't going to count. And if everything election-wise stays the same, in 2024, the Democrat candidate has already won Massachusetts, whether it's Joe Biden or if he's not there and someone else is running. Whoever the Democrat is will win Massachusetts in 2024 if the way we do elections stays the same, if there is an election. That's how it always has been. That's how it always will be. So if you vote for a Republican, you vote for the Easter Bunny, it doesn't matter. If you vote for Ralph Nader, if you vote for a third-party candidate in Massachusetts, it doesn't matter. Because once you vote, all the votes for Massachusetts count for the blue Democrat person. That's what's wrong with our way of doing elections. If you live in a red state and you want to vote for anybody who's not a Republican, too bad. If you live in a blue state and you want to vote for anybody who's not a Democrat, it's too bad. All the votes from your state are going to go to that person. They don't get divided up, If the Democrat wins 60% and the Republican wins 40%, they don't split it. A couple of states do that. I think it's Maine and what was the other one? Like Nebraska, somewhere in the middle. They do that. But in most states, if it's close between two candidates, but it's always a blue state, it's going to go to the Democrats. If it's always a red state, so you have to understand that most Americans who live in blue states or red states know that in reality they don't have a choice. Okay? The party that runs their state, so if it's a red state, whoever the Republicans pick for their candidate is going to win that state. If you're a blue state, whoever the Democrats pick going to win is going to be that state. So I knew that. That's why I knew it was safe for me to vote for Ralph Nader, and I didn't cause any George W. Bush to win, okay? So, then, the next time, John Kerry. I didn't vote for him because, again, I live in Massachusetts. He decided to vote for the Iraq War, even though he was supposed to be a peacenik. And I felt that he misrepresented me in voting for the Iraq War, which I was not a fan of. I did not want to happen. So I could not vote for him. I wasn't voting for the other guy either. So, again, my vote is only symbolic because I live in Massachusetts. So it doesn't matter who I vote for. At the time, I said, you know what? I'm sick of this whole thing. I'm tired of government. These people, none of them are representing me. None of them are helping me out. I'm tired of this. I want the ring of power destroyed. So in that election, I wrote in Frodo Baggins. Yes. The one who destroyed the ring. Frodo Baggins, okay? Next time, I didn't know Barack Obama from a hole in the wall. I know Oprah liked him. I know that he was campaigning around the world, which didn't make sense to me because he was supposed to be the president of the United States. He wasn't supposed to be the president of the world, so I really didn't understand that. And when he was campaigning, I was like, I don't know this guy. Does he have experience to be president? Then I remember not liking him, and when they were at a debate or something, he was sitting next to Hillary, and he made some remark like, "You're nice enough, Hillary." It was so flippant and so dismissive, and I was like, this guy's a jerk. Why does anybody like him? You know? But the people voted for him. I didn't. I voted for John McCain. I don't like John McCain. I thought he was okay. But, I knew him. I knew who he was. I knew what I was going to get. I knew nothing about this guy. So, the next time, I did not like Barack Obama. Some of the stuff he did really messed me up in life. But nobody messed me up worse than Mitt Romney. Again, from Massachusetts. So, Mitt Romney had been my governor. I know he was an idiot. There was no way in hell I was going to vote for Mitt Romney. Now, again, usually my vote is symbolic. The only reason I felt like my vote could have counted was because he was the governor of Massachusetts. There wasn't really a chance, but an off chance that he somehow could have won Massachusetts and my vote would have counted. I voted for Barack Obama. Okay. So, here comes the big to-do 4 years ago, right? I had every intention of voting for Hillary Clinton. I really did. When Donald Trump ran, I was shocked. I was surprised that he did it. I thought it was cool. I always liked Donald Trump. I knew him going back to being a kid. When I was a kid, he was Donald Trump, rich man who come on talk shows and just put his name on buildings. And I don't know. He seemed pretty cool to me. I remember he had a Tour de Trump. I was into cycling races. I went up to Boston and he was there. It was a cycling race named the Tour de Trump. I thought he was a trip, And so when he was running, I thought it was cool. I was like, it'd be interesting if he got somewhere, I didn't think, at first. But he's better than the rest of the Republicans, that's for sure. I mean, most would think he should have run as an independent, but nobody who ever runs as an independent could ever win an election. That's just silly. So if you want to win, you have to run as a Democrat or Republican. So clearly he saw an easier path as a Republican. He's smart, So he ran as a Republican, and I thought it was cool, but I intended to vote for Hillary still. And then she started talking trash about half of the country early on, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't like this. What is she doing? Because if she becomes president, she's going to be president of everybody. She's not going to be just president of the people who like her. So I kept waiting for her to stop doing that, and the people who did her tweets, I'm sure it wasn't her, but the Democratic National Committee, they were awful, and they just kept talking trash about Republicans, and like they're the worst, vilest thing. Like, wait a minute, those are Americans. I was originally registered as a Democrat, but after those 2 times that I voted for Clinton, I ended up becoming unenrolled, which you don't register as an independent. You become unenrolled, meaning you're neither a Democrat or a Republican. So I took that as I became unenrolled. This way here, in the primaries, if I want to vote for Republican, I can vote for Republican. In the primaries, if I want to vote, they don't automatically give me a ballot. Because if you're registered as a Democrat, they automatically give you a Democrat ballot. Or a Republican, they automatically. If you are unenrolled, you get to choose. So you can vote in either primary. And that's all there really is. That's all the big differences. So, my views are mostly left-leaning views. Mostly. But not all. But the liberals the people who call themselves liberals now. I once did, but over time, the way the liberals became really dogmatic and really against freedom, which is what liberals should mean, but I was like, I'm not that. So I can't call myself a liberal because I believe everybody has a say. I believe in being fair. I believe in truth and freedom and all that stuff. You know, I don't believe in a narrative, and I don't believe in, telling people what to think. And that's where the liberals were going. So here we are, and I'm like, I don't believe this liberal stuff. I don't hate Republicans. I don't see people as blue and red. Every single person has their own opinion about many things. So the more she trashed people, I was like, can I vote for her if she's being like this? So when the primary came around, I'm like, I'm voting for Bernie. Now, it was to the point where Trump was already the Republican candidate, and it was Hillary and Bernie. And I was like, at this point, I don't care, because I liked all three of them, and I was perfectly happy to have any one of them as president. I didn't think there was going to be a big difference. I kind of felt like the government runs itself, and the president is just, the person who people think runs everything. So, I voted for Bernie in the primary. And then, after trashing half the country and saying how disgusting Republicans are, now she hates Bernie bros. And all the people who are on her side, I'm like saying to myself, is she even smart? Because you want to win an election. You want to get as many votes as possible. She decided she was going to trash not only one half of the whole country who could have voted for her, but she was also going to trash a bunch of maybe Democrats and independents who voted for Bernie Sanders because they were more left-leaning than the liberals. And I was just like, what? Is she crazy? And as time went on, I was like, I don't think I like her anymore. And I was like, I can't vote for her. I think I'm going to vote for Trump. And I did. And when he won, I was surprised. And I was happy. Because somebody who is, as they now say, an outsider, he was not part of the political establishment, was able to run for president and win. And I didn't think that could happen for a very long time. And I was really happy about it. And I thought that, okay, he won, it'll be over, everybody, all the people who hate him, everybody will calm down, everything will go back to normal. No. The next day, resist. All these people have to resist Trump, especially the celebrities, and they're on Twitter and they're foaming at the mouth and they're freaking out, and Cher keeps tweeting the tiny toilets instead of his name, and every celebrity's losing their minds. They can't take it. Resist, and he's the worst thing that ever happened, and he's baby Hitler and all this stuff. The guy he's like been voted for president for one day, and they were all losing their minds. The world was coming to an end. And I was like, they're not going to give him a chance. But I still didn't think it was going to be as bad as it did. Then all the stuff that happened that made everything lousy, all the division that was created by the people who could not stand this guy. Hang on a second. I had to pause this. Okay, so I had to plug it in. So after all that, things became worse and people started really losing their minds. There had been that commercial during the campaign from the DNC that showed the little kids watching TV and seeing Donald Trump and being like, and I think a lot of people, a lot of grown adults watched that commercial over and over and over again and became traumatized like they were little kids because, I don't know, they couldn't take it. I remember Meryl Streep freaking out about how he had said stuff about that one guy, and it was his manners, the way he was as a person, that just made everybody lose their mind. It was like, you don't vote for president to be polite. That's not what you vote for president for. But it seemed like a lot of people voted for president just to have an idol not to have somebody actually govern them. I don't know. But anyway, the stuff that happened, the Me Too thing, came because everybody reacted so poorly to Trump. Now they had to call out everybody, whoever did anything. And that spawned cancel culture, where people had to, if anybody ever did anything, ever back in 1986, they hugged somebody at a Christmas party, their career was ruined, and I don't know. It just became really unbearable because it was like, we're never getting along. People won't just let this man be president and, do what they can to vote for somebody else next time. They couldn't do it. It was just every day, celebrities and making everybody's life a nightmare because now there were all these standards of behavior and stuff that are now being imposed on everybody. And the virtue signaling and all the stuff that says you have to agree with us all the way down the line, or else, we're going to cancel you if you don't toe the party line, which was one party. Wasn't everybody's party. Now, I didn't agree to that. I didn't, say I want all that, And then this whole election cycle was awful. And I did not hate Donald Trump. Now, did he do anything to help me? No. No president ever has. But did he do anything bad? No, we didn't get in any wars. I don't know. I still liked him. And I don't like any of those Democrats. And I hate cancel culture. And I hate the PC police because, again, I believe in truth. And I believe in freedom of speech. And as whatever anybody wants to say, whatever everybody wants to think, as bad as it is, I support their right to do that. I absolutely want that right for myself and for everyone else. Freedom of thought, freedom of speech. And I've said it all along. So here we are. And we get to the point where you start seeing these people are now going to restrict everybody, cancel everybody who does not agree with their party line. We went through a whole thing this past year with the pandemic. I'm not even going to touch that subject and how it affected things. But the pandemic gave the people who absolutely would do anything they could to not see President Trump get a second term. It gave them an opportunity to come up with the stupid idea of mass mail-in ballots. The minute they came up with that, I'm like, okay, that's their way. That's how they're going to make sure that even if Trump wins, he doesn't win. Now, did Trump win? I have no idea. Did Joe Biden win? I have no idea. And the reason is the minute they said mail-in ballots, I said, that's going to make a mess. I had been a poll worker in the past. I had sat there and crossed off people's names and stuff. I was like, that amount of mail, that's going to make a huge mess. So right then and there, I said, I don't think this election is going to be anything but a nightmare. One way or another, somebody will say, whoever gets less votes will say, we need a recount, we need to do this and that. It was obvious that was going to happen. So then on election night, I did early voting, which is, now I really kind of am against. I think people should vote in person on the day. Even early voting, I thought about it because it was almost the same thing, because you still had to put it in an envelope and leave it there as if you had sent in an absentee ballot. But I voted on the day. I voted for Trump again. There was no way I was voting for Joe Biden. And if it was Joe Biden and somebody else, there was no way I was voting for Joe Biden. But any chance that Kamala Harris was going to be president, I don't like her at all. She reminds me of so many people who have ruined my life. I mean, oh my God. She looks and acts like so many phony people who have come into my life to just make a mess. My mother had a boss who looked exactly like her. The way she messed up my mother. Anyway, but I don't like her. Joe he's a puppet. I believe he's a puppet. I don't know how long they'll keep him there. But anyway, on the day, I was up watching NBC News. I haven't had cable news channels in a long time, so please don't accuse me of being a Fox News person. I am not. I was watching NBC News, and I was up in the middle of the night, and I watched Chuck Todd, who nobody in this country likes, gleefully say, I just got a call from Pennsylvania, and they went to sleep. Now, everybody at NBC is sitting there waiting for results. I'm a normal American watching TV up in the middle of the night waiting for results. And people in one of the big swing states, the most important swing state almost, said, we're going to go to bed. We'll just leave everything hanging around. We'll go to bed and we'll count this later because we're sleepy. Right then and there, I said, that's it. There's no way to trust this election. I mean, I already thought that we were going to have a mess because of the mail-in ballots and that whoever lost was going to... Now they're not even counting through the night. I was like, no way. There's too much room for error. So you probably couldn't get an accurate count if you really tried. I mean, they screwed it up on purpose from the beginning. So who won? Like I said, I don't know. But to me, it was obvious that if they're going to do things this way from now on, it doesn't matter. I told you, as a person from Massachusetts, I haven't felt my vote mattered in years. You know, because the votes of Massachusetts, so I know it didn't matter. When Al Gore lost, I thought for sure he'd fight against the Electoral College. If they wanted Americans to feel like they had a vote and their vote counted, they would have got rid of the Electoral College a long time ago. And everybody's vote would have counted. And every president would have won by the popular vote. I know all the stupid reasons they're supposed, oh no, we have to keep this. No. If there was an Electoral College, if there wasn't the Electoral College, and everybody just voted and everybody's vote counted evenly, I'd feel much better about this country and how our elections are, and that the right person was chosen, the one the people really wanted. But he didn't fight for it. He fought against the Electoral College. Same thing happened to Hillary Clinton. On the same side, the Democrats again. Did they fight to get rid of the Electoral College? No. Because these two parties like that it's sewn up between them. They don't want any third party to be able to get in there and have a chance. They don't want any outsider to be able to get in. That's why Donald Trump was so rare. And that's why they really came after him, because he was never a Republican either. They didn't like him either because he wasn't one of them. He wasn't an establishment Democrat. He didn't belong. So there are many forces working against him. And a lot of people know that. Okay? Now here we are. The man has, at this point, it's the 9th. He has 11 days left to be president. Nancy Pelosi wants to get rid of him one way or another. She wants to do an impeachment on Monday. Everybody's insisting he should resign because of what happened at the Capitol on Wednesday. Here's the thing. The biggest lie the news media has been telling about Donald Trump and his supporters, or the people who voted for him, is that people sit there and they wait for commands or orders or what to think from Donald Trump. That's never been the case. People do what they want. They support Donald Trump. They vote for Donald Trump. But he's not their fearless leader. They're not sitting there waiting for him to tell them what to do. Are there some people who, yeah. But those people who went to the Capitol, they were doing that anyway. You know, people who wanted there to be a wall, they wanted that way before Donald Trump was running for president. People who have any of the ideas they have, those were their ideas on their own. Donald Trump did not incept them. He did not put ideas into people's minds. People have their own lives, and they go through what they go through. And they look at their life, and they look at the candidates available, and they say, this guy is going to, or this girl is going to do the best for my life. Hopefully they do. If they just vote for somebody because a celebrity told them to, or they think the person's going to win, so they want to vote for the person who won so they can go around saying, oh, those people are awful. Okay? But most people, they look at their life and they say, who's going to help me out? Or who's not going to make my life worse? And that's who they choose to vote for. And they have their own opinions and they have their own ideas and they think them for the reasons that their life has put them through and what their life has taught them. And that's what so if they think bad things, their life steered them in that direction. Donald Trump didn't come and catch them while they were skipping through the forest with their picnic basket, and suddenly the big bad wolf put all kinds of bad ideas in somebody's head. Okay? People think for themselves. They have been able to this point. And here's where I'm not scared. I'm upset because this was a good country. And when I was growing up, people got along. People of all kinds and, any religion. And I don't know, the divisiveness about race and gender and all these things, to me, that was new. That was new from the last decade or so. When I was growing up, I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear racist stuff. I didn't see racist stuff. Everybody was all right. Everybody got along. Everything was fine. It to me, it was part of a narrative. And now it's become, in the last couple of years, it's become proof through virtual signaling that you're not a bad person. And if you don't prove it, we're going to cancel you. And it got to in 4 years, it got to that point because of people who started because of their fear or hatred of Trump. I don't know what that was. But I still like everybody. And I want everybody to be free. And that's the problem. It doesn't look like we're headed towards freedom. It didn't look like it 2 days ago. And now all this internet platforms are taking people down, and they canceled President Trump's Twitter. I mean, he's the president. What they can do to him, they can do to anybody. And it's not canceling Twitter, it's stopping the person from being able to get a message out. You could say it's a private company, but you're just shutting someone down. And even if you're the president of the company, how do you feel okay about shutting someone down? Saying you can't say that. You can't think, whatever it is. I would never tell somebody what to think, and I would never tell somebody what to say. A lot of people are okay with that, though. That used to scare me. I'm used to it now. It makes me sad. Because, I never had a lot of money. I've always, I couldn't travel all the world and do all kinds, but I was free in that way. I could speak my mind and say what I thought, and, it's not bad stuff. I want everybody to be free. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be able to live their life. If it was up to me, there'd be universal health care. Not Medicare for all. That's totally different, and I don't like it. There'd be universal health care. Everybody would have free school, and everybody would have a roof over their head. There'd be no homeless if it was up to me. And if people want to be in any religion, that's fine. If people don't want to be in a religion, that's fine. If people want to say things that are mean, you can ignore them, or you could say something mean back. You don't have to listen. That's the thing about things like Twitter. I mean, I've been on Twitter for 12 years. You have to follow somebody in order to see their tweets. You have to say follow. You have to press a button in order to get the person's tweets. Now, the only thing that changed, in the old days, you used to manually retweet somebody. Meaning, if you saw a tweet, then you wanted the people following you to see it, you would copy it, put the letters RT, and then tweet it yourself so that people would see that you were retweeting something that somebody else said. When they made the retweet button, it became easier. What happened, though, was that they changed it, I don't know when, so that when you like something, the people who follow you now have to see every post you liked, and that's like, well, then what's retweet for? Because retweet was, I want my followers to see this tweet from somebody who I'm following. Like was just supposed to be, I like it. Wasn't, I need everybody who's following me to watch. But I started getting liked tweets from people, and I'm like, I don't want to see that. I'm purposely not. I don't like Ricky Gervais, right? I think he's a jerk. But now, if a celebrity or some person I was following liked it, it pops up. I'm like, they didn't retweet that. Why do I have to see this? So that didn't help. And that's the way that people have to see tweets. But then you can block them. You can say, okay, you know what? Now I have to block Ricky Gervais or whoever I don't want to see tweets, because they're coming to me anyway, even though I'm not. So then you block them. So once you block people or you don't follow them, you can't see their tweets. So now you're free to never be influenced by that person. But they're still free to say their stupid crap, and I don't have to hear it. I don't have to read it. I don't have to see it. So because of that, it was all free, and everybody, why they have to cancel people? Why did they have to start saying, well, we can't allow the person? I didn't really know who Alex Jones was. I knew he was a conspiracy person, but then I said, oh, that's when they got rid of him off all these platforms. I was like, why are they doing that? You don't have to listen to him, so what? You know what I mean? And I was like, at that point, it was scary. Once they started doing this stuff, though, you started getting used to it. You started saying, oh, this is how it's going to be. And it was scary for a while, but in the last year or so, after everything that's happened, you knew this is where they're headed. They're headed toward, everybody has said it, 1984, and it's funny because that book scared me as a kid, and the teachers told us this was the worst thing in the world. But then before Trump, once people started telling you what you couldn't say, the words you couldn't say, and people started floating the ideas of banning words. I'm like, but you read 1984, didn't you? We can't go down that road. It doesn't matter. Because once one person's not free, nobody's free. You can't take away certain people's rights to free thought and free speech. Because then you have the thought police. Who in the world wants to live under the thought police? And then it started happening. It started happening with cancel culture. And now, for them to really, for these tech companies to say, we're going to do this, we're going to ban this person permanently. And they are as powerful as a rich man named Donald Trump, and they can do that. Well, what is there for the rest of us? We can't think our thoughts anymore. We're not going to be able to say what we want to say. Then this ain't America. It's just not. If you're okay with that, I don't know. I'm not okay with it, but it doesn't matter. There's nothing I can do about it. Those people who stormed the Capitol, they thought there was something they could do about it, but we let the people who rule us get too powerful a long time ago. You could say it was after 9/11 and the Patriot Act, but it was before that. It's mostly about money, because money in our society is power. I hate money. I need money. I don't have money. I'm in serious money trouble. I don't know what I'm going to do for money soon. A lot of people don't now. It amazes me that so many people's crap lives had caught up to mine. Their lives have caught up to my crap life, because my life's been crap for a long, long time. The system did not work for me. Was it rigged? Yeah. It was. People don't understand that, though, if they benefited from the rigged system. But if I say that, if I think things, then I'm all kinds of words that I'm not. It's sad. But I wish everybody could be happy and free. I don't see that happening now. I don't see a future of freedom. Unless it does crumble and start all over again, which is sad. I don't want that to happen either. I just wish we could go back. We could rewind a little bit before everybody became hysterical. I don't know, before smartphones, before people had computers in their hands, and when people used to sit down and talk to each other in real life. Everything was relatively okay then, whether you had money or not, whatever color you were, or whatever religion you were. It was so much better than it is now. I don't worry about the future. I don't think there is one for the kind of life that I had or wanted to have. So I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be good. But it is what it is. And it's sad. It's really sad.